By the end of this video, you will be able to draw Bohr models of atoms up to argon, which has an atomic number of 18. So what is the Bohr model? Well, the Bohr model is just a model of what atoms are supposed to look like. It's not an exact description. And so in this model, the nucleus is the sun, and the electrons are planets orbiting around the sun. So we have protons and we have neutrons in the nucleus, and we have what are called energy levels, and the electrons are kind of floating around the nucleus, the same way that planets orbit around the sun. Now these paths that the electrons take, they're called orbitals or shells or energy levels. In these Bohr models, the first shell or the first energy level can only hold a maximum of 2 electrons. Once you fill that up with its 2 electrons, then that's it. You can't put any more on there. If you have any more electrons to put on there, you have to put them on the next energy level. But this also has limitation. This can only hold up to 8 electrons. And once you have filled up the next energy level or the next shell or the next orbital with 8 electrons, if you have even more electrons to put on, then you need to add yet another energy level. And this one can hold up to 8 electrons. And if you have even more to put on, then you can just add another one and another one and another one. But each subsequent shell or each subsequent energy level can only hold up to 8 electrons, except for the first one, which can only hold 2. And here is a basic Bohr model with the nucleus acting like the sun and the electrons occupying the energy levels around it. In this analogy, the electrons are like planets and the nucleus is like the sun. Now we're going to go through 2 examples. The first one is going to be carbon-14, the radioactive isotope of carbon. Here's how you draw its Bohr model. First thing you do is you look up carbon on the periodic table. And we've looked up carbon, it's right here, and we see that it has 6, atomic number of 6. That means it has 6 protons. So as we begin to build our Bohr model, we draw our nucleus and we write that it has 6 protons in it, and protons have a positive charge. Next, we need to find the number of neutrons in the nucleus. Well, the atomic mass of carbon-14 is 14, which means that the number of protons plus the number of neutrons has to equal 14. So we have 6 protons. What plus 6 will give us 14? And that answer is 8. 8 neutrons. Neutrons have no charge. 8 neutrons in the nucleus, 6 protons in the nucleus, giving us an atomic mass of 14 for this particular isotope of carbon. Now that we have the nucleus, 6 protons and 8 neutrons, we need to find out how many electrons carbon-14 has. Now, we know that all atoms are neutral, which means that the number of protons must equal the number of electrons. So if carbon-14 has 6 protons, then it must have 6 electrons. Now that we know the number of electrons, we can start drawing our energy levels. Our electrons. First energy level. Remember, it can only hold a maximum of 2 electrons. So we draw the 2 right there. But carbon has 6 electrons, so we need to add another 4 on there. So we just add another energy level right here, and we can throw another 4 electrons on our Bohr model, and we have 6 electrons. That completes our Bohr model for carbon-14. Now, the number of electrons on the outermost shell, these right here are called valence electrons. These are electrons on the outermost shell. And we can see that carbon-14 has 4 valence electrons. And these valence electrons determine how the carbon atom bonds. 4 valence electrons, 6 electrons total, but 4 of these are valence electrons. The electrons on the outermost energy level. And there you have it. Now you know how to draw Bohr models of atoms up to argon.